In the currency quadrant, taking a look at the March British pound futures, which finished the day lower versus yesterday's settlement, but higher versus its own open. So it will look like a positive day on the charts, and it finished its second consecutive week of higher prices. The pound was up 1.08% last week, up about 1/3% this week. It's now retraced more than the 1.25% drop of 3 weeks ago. The pound has gained over 1.33% since closing below 134 on January 28th. The high today up about 0.7% at 136.07. The low today still above 135 at 135.12, down about 0.4%, a little bit more than that. Now, British GDP, the UK GDP was released this morning, and month over month, year over year revisions both came in higher. The month over month was down 0.2%, but versus expectations of down 0.6%. So that was a better performance. And the year over year GDP as of December was up 6.5% versus 6.4% expected. Construction output, industrial production, manufacturing production, all were released as well, and all came in a little bit lower than expected, but they were still all positive, not necessarily versus last month, but versus the expectations, they were a little bit weaker. So looking at that data, you'd say the whole thing was mixed, but it didn't dissuade the pound from going up from the open after hitting those lows of 135.12. Now, the US dollar had a strong week, but it was strong at the expense of the euro, not the pound. The euro was down about 0.9% on the week, but as I mentioned, the pound itself up about 37 basis points on the week, about 1/3%, maybe a little bit less than that. So the dollar itself didn't have a terrible effect on the pound. It's probably a little bit of a headwind, but the two central banks are definitely more hawkish than the ECB. We do have a speech by Christine Lagarde, head of the ECB, on Monday, so we'll see if that changes everything. But we finished the pound with the second consecutive week higher.